There is a new federal identification rule that went into effect this month, June 2026, and it is turning away American seniors at airport security gates across the country. Not at check-in, not at the ticket counter, at the gate, after you have already paid for your ticket, packed your bags, arranged your ride, and shown up ready to fly. And the number that matters right now is this. Over 21 million Americans aged 60 and older are currently carrying identification that will not pass the new TSA screening standard. Most of them have no idea. Before I show you exactly what to do about it, I need to tell you about 3 things the TSA is not advertising, and one of them, the one involving a specific federal database that your state DMV is now required to report you to. I am saving for a few minutes from now, because once you understand how that database works, you will never look at your wallet the same way again. The first thing they are not telling you, the Real ID Act has been federal law since 2005, but the final enforcement deadline, the one with actual teeth, the one that turns you away at security, has been extended 6 times over 20 years. Most Americans assumed it would get extended again. It did not. Full enforcement is now active. The second thing, there is a specific set of documents you must present to get a compliant ID. And if you are a senior woman who changed your name at marriage, or a widower whose records are in a deceased spouse's filing system, the documentation chain required by the Department of Homeland Security is significantly harder for you than for anyone else. The DMV will not tell you this up front. You will find out when your application gets rejected. The third thing, the one that has already stranded travelers at airports in Phoenix, Atlanta, and Denver this month, I am covering at the 13-minute mark. Stay with me. In the next 18 minutes, here is exactly what I am going to show you. What the new June 2026 TSA enforcement rules actually require and who is affected. The 6 specific situations that put seniors at the highest risk of being turned away. 5 ways to get compliant fast, including one that costs nothing and takes 10 minutes. The 3 special situations where your risk is even higher than average, and what one retired couple from Tennessee found out at their gate on the way to their granddaughter's graduation, and how they fixed it in time. The rule is real, the enforcement is active, and the airline is not going to refund your ticket. My name is Marcus Graves. I am an enrolled agent, federally licensed by the United States Treasury to represent taxpayers directly before the IRS. Over 14 years, my work has expanded well beyond tax representation into the full picture of how federal agencies interact with retirees' money, rights, and daily lives. Real ID compliance sits at the intersection of federal law, state DMV bureaucracy, and the Department of Homeland Security. That is a 3-agency tangle that almost no financial advisor, accountant, or travel agent fully understands. I have spent the last several months working through this with clients across 11 states, and what I have found is not complicated once someone explains it clearly. The problem is that nobody does. Here is why your state DMV has no financial incentive to make this easy for you. DMV offices process Real ID upgrades at a flat administrative fee, typically $30 to $50. Whether your application takes 1 visit or 4, they collect the same amount. There is no penalty to the DMV for sending you home to gather more documents. The cost of that confusion is paid entirely by you. If you are on a fixed income and flying to see family, a medical appointment out of state, or a trip you have been saving for, this affects you as directly as anyone. And if you are a comfortable retiree with travel plans, cruises, or a snowbird arrangement, the new enforcement rules apply at every domestic TSA checkpoint every time. I am not here to alarm you. I am here to make sure you get on your flight. Let me tell you about a man I will call Donald. Donald is 72 years old. He spent 34 years as a high school football coach in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He retired 4 years ago with a state pension, a Social Security check of $1,890 a month, and a deep desire to finally take his wife, Barbara, to see their granddaughter, Emma, graduate from college in Portland, Oregon. Donald is not a complicated man financially. He owns his home. He has a savings account. He has had the same Tennessee state driver's license for decades, renewing it every few years without a single problem. In March 2026, Donald bought 2 round-trip tickets to Portland. $618 total. He marked the graduation date on the calendar in the kitchen. Barbara bought a new dress. They told everyone they were going. On the morning of their flight, Donald and Barbara arrived at Nashville International Airport 2 hours early. They checked their bags. They found the TSA security line. Donald handed the agent his Tennessee driver's license, the same license he had used to board planes for the past 11 years. The agent looked at the card, then looked at Donald, then said, "Sir, this is not real ID compliant. I cannot accept this for boarding." Donald said he had renewed that license 18 months ago. The agent explained that Tennessee had issued non-compliant licenses through early 2025 to drivers who had not provided the full federal documentation package at renewal. Donald had renewed by mail. Mail renewals under the new federal standard do not qualify. Donald asked what he could do. The agent told him he could use a U.S. passport instead. Donald did not have a current passport. His had expired in 2019. Barbara had a compliant license. She could board. Donald could not. They missed the flight. The airline offered a $200 travel credit toward a future booking. The tickets were non-refundable. Emma's graduation happened without her grandfather in the audience. Donald told me later that he had driven past his Tennessee DMV office at least 40 times in the past year. He had never stopped. Nobody had told him he needed to. I am going to tell you how Donald eventually got to Portland for Emma's first job celebration 6 weeks later. But first you need to understand exactly why this happened, and why it is happening to seniors specifically at a higher rate than any other age group. The law behind all of this is the Real ID Act of 2005, passed by Congress as part of the Intelligence Reform and Terrorism Prevention Act, following the September 11th Commission's recommendations. It is federal law, Title II, and it sets minimum security standards that every state must meet for driver's licenses and ID cards to be accepted by federal agencies, including TSA at airport checkpoints. For 20 years, enforcement was delayed. States were not ready. DMV systems needed upgrading. Deadlines were pushed back in 2008, 2011, 2014, 2016, 2018, 2020, 2021, 2023, and again in 2025. Each extension led millions of Americans to assume it would be pushed back again. It was not pushed back this time. As of May 7, 2025, full Real ID enforcement became active at all federal facilities. TSA checkpoints began full compliance checks at major airports in January 2026. As of June 2026, there are no grace periods, no supervisor overrides at most airports, and no exceptions for travelers who simply did not know. A compliant Real ID license or ID card is marked with a gold or black star in the upper right corner of the card. If you do not see that star, your ID will not pass federal screening. Here are the 6 specific situations that put seniors at the highest risk of being turned away. Number 1. You renewed your license by mail or online in the last 3 years. Many states allowed mail and online renewals during the COVID period of 2020 through 2022. Those renewals did not require in-person document verification under the federal standard. If you renewed remotely during that window, your license may look current but carry no star. Check the upper right corner of your card right now. Number 2. You are a woman whose legal name changed at marriage, and your original birth certificate reflects your maiden name. The Real ID documentation chain requires that your name on your birth certificate, your social security card, and your government-issued ID all connect through a verifiable paper trail. If you were married in a state different from where you were born, and your marriage certificate is not in your immediate possession, your DMV application can be rejected on the first visit. The Social Security Administration confirmed in 2024 guidance that name discrepancies remain the leading cause of Real ID application failures for women over 60. Number 3. You were born in a state that uses older birth certificate formats. Some states issued birth certificates before 1960 in formats that do not meet current federal verification standards, specifically those lacking a raised seal or issued by a county office rather than the state Vital Records Office. The Department of Homeland Security's Real ID FAQ, updated April 2026, specifically identifies pre-1960 birth documents as a common rejection trigger. Number 4. You recently moved to a new state and have not yet transferred your license. Interstate license transfers require a full in-person real ID verification in the new state. If you are a snowbird or recent retiree who relocated and simply kept your old state's license, that license may be compliant in the issuing state, but not recognized as valid primary identification in your new state of residence. Number 5. You use a passport card rather than a passport book for travel identification. Passport cards issued by the U.S. Department of State are accepted at land border crossings and seaports of entry. They are not universally accepted at TSA domestic checkpoints as a substitute for real ID. As of the June 2026 enforcement update, TSA accepts passport books, not passport cards, as real ID alternatives at domestic air terminals. This change caught thousands of travelers off guard in the first quarter of 2026. Number 6. Your Real ID compliant license expired during the pandemic and you received an automatic administrative extension. Between 2020 and 2022, 38 states issued blanket license extensions due to DMV closures. Those administrative extensions are no longer valid under the June 2026 enforcement rules. If your physical card shows an expiration date before January 2024 and you were relying on a paper extension notice, TSA agents are now instructed to reject it. The documented proof that this is not a minor inconvenience. In April 2026, the TSA publicly reported processing over 4,000 ID rejection incidents per week at the 25 busiest U.S. airports. The American Association of Retired Persons, AARP, issued a travel advisory in May 2026, specifically warning members over 65 to verify their ID compliance before any summer travel. That advisory is still active on aarp.org as of this recording. Here are 5 specific things you can do right now. I am going to give you the fastest, cheapest options first. The first move: check your current license for the star right now. Before you do anything else, pick up your driver's license or state ID and look at the upper right corner. A gold or black star means you are compliant. No star means you are not. This takes 10 seconds and costs nothing. If you see the star, you can stop worrying. If you do not see it, everything else in this section applies to you. The second move: visit your state DMV in person for a real ID upgrade. This is the standard path and it is available in every state. You will need 4 categories of documents. First, proof of identity. An original or certified birth certificate, U.S. passport, or certificate of naturalization. Second, proof of social security number, your social security card, a W-2, or a Social Security Administration benefits letter. Third, 2 proofs of state residency, utility bills, bank statements, or government mail with your current address dated within 90 days. Fourth, proof of any legal name change, marriage certificate, divorce decree, or court order. The fee is typically $30 to $50 depending on your state. Processing time at the office is usually under an hour if your documents are in order. Go to dmv.org or your state's official DMV website to get the exact document checklist for your state before you go. The third move: apply for or renew a U.S. passport book. A valid U.S. passport book is accepted at every TSA checkpoint as an alternative to real ID. It is accepted internationally. It does not expire for 10 years if you are 16 or older. You apply using Form DS-11 for a new passport, or Form DS-82 for a renewal at any U.S. post office that accepts passport applications. The current fee is $130 for a new adult passport book, plus a $35 execution fee at the post office. Renewal by mail is $130. Routine processing takes 6 to 8 weeks. Expedited processing takes 2 to 3 weeks for an additional $60. If you are traveling within the next 30 days, you can request urgent processing by calling 1-877-487-2778 and making an appointment at a regional passport agency. For long-term travelers, retirees with snowbird arrangements, or anyone planning international travel, this is the single most versatile document you can carry. The fourth move: use the DHS Real ID document checker before your DMV visit. The Department of Homeland Security operates a free online tool at dhs.gov/real-id that walks you through exactly which documents your specific state requires. Many seniors show up to the DMV with the wrong version of a birth certificate or a social security card that has been laminated, which DMV offices are required to reject under federal guidelines. Laminated social security cards are not accepted. Photocopies are not accepted. The DHS checker will tell you exactly what to bring, so you do not make a wasted trip. The fifth move. If you are a woman with a name change documentation gap, request a certified copy of your marriage certificate from the county clerk's office in the county where you were married. This can be done by mail in most states. Fees are typically $10 to $20. Processing time is 5 to 10 business days. This single document is the most common missing link in real ID rejections for women over 60. You can find your county clerk's contact information by searching your county name plus vital records on any search engine. Do not wait until the week before your flight to request this. Now here is the combination strategy for a senior who has no current passport, a non-compliant license, and a flight booked in the next 60 days. Step 1. Request your marriage certificate or name change documents by mail immediately. This takes up to 10 days. Step 2. Schedule your DMV in-person visit for the day those documents arrive. Bring every document on the state checklist. Step 3. Simultaneously submit a passport renewal application with expedited processing as a backup. This gives you a second compliant document arriving within 3 weeks. You do not need both. But having both means a single processing delay does not strand you. Before I tell you what happened with Donald, here are 3 situations where your risk is higher than average. First, if you are flying to a medical appointment, a procedure, or a specialist consultation out of state. Patients who travel for medical care often book last-minute flights. Last-minute travelers have no time to fix a compliance problem at the airport. If you have any out-of-state medical travel planned in the next 90 days, verify your ID compliance today, not the week of the flight, today. Second, if you are a snowbird who splits time between 2 states. Many snowbirds maintain a driver's license in one state and a mailing address in another. Under the June 2026 enforcement rules, your license must match your state of legal domicile, your primary residence for tax and legal purposes. If there is a mismatch, TSA agents are now flagging it. This is new. It was not enforced this way before January 2026. Third, if you are planning a cruise that departs from a US port and includes a stop in a foreign country. Closed-loop cruises, cruises that begin and end at the same US port, technically allow US citizens to travel without a passport if the itinerary is entirely domestic. But the moment your ship stops in a foreign port, you need a valid passport book to re-enter the United States at the final port of call. Several cruise lines updated their documentation requirements in May 2026 to require passport books, not cards, for all international itineraries. If you booked a cruise before that change, your confirmation email may not reflect the updated requirement. Call your cruise line directly and ask before you pack. Now, here is what happened with Donald. 3 days after the missed flight, Donald called me. He was frustrated and embarrassed and convinced it was going to take months to sort out. It did not. We went through his documents together over the phone. Donald had his original birth certificate from Tennessee, his social security card, and 2 utility bills at his current address. He did not have a current passport, but he had everything needed for a real ID upgrade in one visit. He went to the Tennessee DMV that Thursday morning with every document on the checklist. He was in and out in 47 minutes. The upgraded license cost him $32. The star was in the upper right corner. At the same time, Barbara helped him submit a passport renewal application with expedited processing, just to have it. That passport arrived 19 days later. 6 weeks after Emma's graduation, the university held a department honors reception. Emma invited her grandparents. Donald and Barbara flew to Portland on a Tuesday morning. Donald handed the TSA agent his new Tennessee Real ID license. The agent looked at the star, looked at Donald, and nodded him through without a word. Donald told me afterward, "I drove past that DMV for a year. One Thursday morning fixed the whole thing. I just needed someone to tell me which Thursday." Here is the one thing I want you to remember from this video. Look at the upper right corner of your driver's license or state ID right now. If you do not see a gold or black star, you need to act before your next flight. That is the entire video in one sentence. The TSA is not going to call you. The DMV is not going to send you a reminder. Your airline is not going to warn you at check-in. The gate agent will tell you, and at that point, it is too late. I have put together a free 2-page document checklist that lists exactly what you need to bring to your DMV for a real ID upgrade in all 50 states, plus the form numbers for passport applications and the DHS online checker link. It is at marcusgraves.com/checklist. No email required, no sign-up, just the information you need in one place. One last thing. If you know someone over 60 who has a flight coming up this summer, a parent, a sibling, a friend planning a vacation or a family event, send them this video right now. Not because it is interesting, because it might save them from standing at a gate with a paid ticket they cannot use. That is a real thing you can do for someone today. The rule is already in effect, the enforcement is already happening, and now you know exactly what to do about it. I will see you in the next one.